Byzantium, where your sports league starts a civil war, your emperor owns a hydraulic lion, and your aunties stage a palace coup between lunch and vespers. Welcome to the land of purple drama. Let's misbehave historically. The so-called Byzantine Empire called itself Roman. After the western half face-planted in 476, Constantinople kept the lights on for another 1,000 years, guarding trade between the Black Sea and the Mediterranean, remixing Roman law with Greek brains and Christian theology, and inventing enough bureaucracy to choke a dromon. The city itself was a flex, triple land walls biting into the Thracian plain, a chain that could seal the Golden Horn like a garage door, and churches where gold mosaics made sunlight look unemployed. Empires aren't just walls and spreadsheets. They're people, making chaotic choices in robes that cost a small province. The court balanced Persians and then Arabs to the east, Bulgars and Rus to the north, and later Seljuk and Ottoman Turks, all while refereeing religious debates spicy enough to make Twitter look like a quilting circle. The trick was adaptation. Law codes translated into Greek, provincial armies reorganized into themes, diplomacy run like a Broadway show with sacred incense and secular side-eye. Imagine a 1,000-year group project. One kid's an engineering prodigy, one's a theater kid with a fog machine, and one keeps setting the classroom on fire to test Greek fire viscosity. That's Byzantium, survivor of sieges, collector of relics, and inventor of the passive-aggressive memo. Today we're touring 10 episodes of glorious, petty chaos, each with the backstory that tuned the drama. Expect saints, spies, silk, and a robot lion that would scare your HOA. Onward! Number 1. Florida man, but make it Roman. The Nika Riots, 532 AD. It begins with sports, taxes, and one extremely punchable tax minister. The Hippodrome wasn't merely NASCAR with horses. It was the empire's living room, parliament, and Twitter thread stapled together. Factions, the blues and greens, ran charities, hired muscle, and doubled as political clubs. Justinian, a peasant-made emperor with spreadsheet energy, was mid-ambitious program. Reconquer lost provinces, rewrite law, corpus juris civilis, and build prestige, all funded by aggressive taxation enforced by John the Cappadocian, a man who looked at unpopular and said, "Hold my ledger." After a string of arrests, 2 condemned faction members survive a botched execution. Blues and greens, usually enemies, briefly unite over shared outrage. The Hippodrome roars, "Nika! Conquer!" But the subtext is, "Fire the emperor." Rioters torch districts, free prisoners, and anoint Hypatius, a senatorial nobody, as backup emperor. Justinian considers flight to the harbor. Then Theodora speaks. "Royal purple is a fine burial shroud." Translation: We die on brand. Generals Belisarius and Mundus march with disciplined troops, seal the Hippodrome exits, and turn a riot into a massacre. Contemporary estimates say tens of thousands dead. The city smolders, but Justinian's throne is safer. With opposition crushed, he accelerates plans for a megachurch on the ruins of the old, Hagia Sophia, built with cosmic speed to broadcast that order and glory now live here. The factions lose political teeth. The court learns that Empress Theodora is the stiffest spine in the room. Byzantium, where halftime entertainment includes regime change and building permits. Number 2. Ocean's Two Monks, the Silk Heist, 552 CE. Two monks, two sticks, one corporate secret. For centuries, China gate-kept silk like a grandma's encrypted cookie recipe. Mulberry leaves in, luxury thread out. Details classified. Persia skimmed profits as middleman. Romans paid through the nose. For Justinian's empire, silk wasn't just bling. It was diplomacy, bribe money, and the purple pigment of imperial identity. Reliance on imports meant leverage for rivals. That's a no from Constantinople. Enter 2 missionary monks who traveled in the east. Justinian funds their return with an unusual shopping list: know-how and eggs. They learn sericulture, egg incubation, larva feeding, cocoon steaming, reeling, and smuggle silkworm eggs inside hollow bamboo, warmed by body heat as they cross mountains, deserts, and customs inspections conducted by men whose job description is suspicious with spear. Back in the Empire, they demo, maintain steady warmth, feed mulberry, unravel cocoons into filament, twist into thread, weave under state supervision. Workshops bloom in Constantinople and Thebes. Guild regulations set quality, worker training, and price controls. The palace claims a monopoly on imperial purple garments. Wearing them without permission is unlies. The payoff is outsized. Cutting Persian tolls and long caravans stabilizes prices, funds fleets, and bankrolls ambassadors. Silk becomes soft power, gifts that make barbarians feel fancy and governors feel loyal. Smuggling bugs sounds small. In practice, it's economic sovereignty in a bamboo cane. Medieval R&D was prayer, espionage, and insect daycare, with excellent ROI. Number 3. Uninstalling Jesus.jpg, the Chalke Gate icon riot, 726 to 730 AD. Emperor Leo III attempts a hotfix for God by uninstalling icons. Users disagree violently. Everyday devotion in Byzantium was tactile. Kissing icons, lighting lamps, telling a painted saint your problems like a spiritual therapist. But military losses to Arab armies and a run of earthquakes looked like divine side-eye. Some theologians argued images tempted idolatry. Others said they were windows to the prototype in heaven. Leo III, a battle-tested ruler, frames reform as piety and policy. He orders the removal of the famous Christ icon above the Chalke Gate, the palace's front door. Workers clamber up ladders, a crowd gathers, words sharpen, hands shove. A ladder tips, an official dies, and a woman named Theodora becomes legendary for helping pull the scaffold, later venerated as a saint by those who favored images. The controversy ripples outward. Edicts ban certain depictions, monks smuggle smaller icons under cloaks, bishops anathema other bishops. Soldiers are told to scrape frescoes. Widows hide panel paintings behind curtains, like contraband sourdough starters. Families split over theology. Sermons sizzle with shade. Policy whipsaws for more than a century, depending on who wears the crown and mitre. Finally, in 843, Empress Theodora, another one, Byzantium collects them, restores icons with solemn processions, marking the triumph of orthodoxy. The fight was never just about art. It was about where ultimate authority sits: palace, council, or parish, and what tools a state can use to fix moral panic. When your remove background feature triggers a 100-year family argument. Number 4. Disneyland at the Palace, Robot Lions and the Rising Throne, 949 AD. A diplomat arrives. The furniture role-plays apex predators. Under Constantine, the 7th Porphyrogenitos, Purple-born, scholar king, author of court how-to guides, the palace perfected ritual as foreign policy. Byzantium couldn't outmuscle caliphates or steppe coalitions, so it out-theatered them. Picture the throne room. Bronze lions crouch by the dais, bellows hidden in their chests. At a signal, they roar. Above, a golden tree sprouting mechanical birds. Somewhere, water and air pressure make metal throats sing. The emperor's seat, a nested contraption, rises smoothly to a lofted platform. Curtains part, and voila! Our sovereign appears more distant, larger than life, literally elevated. Envoys feel the script tug them toward awe. The message lands before the translator opens his mouth. Hierarchy is natural here. Power is inevitable. Automata weren't toys. They were instruments in an orchestra of dominance that included choreographed prostrations, costume codes, how many pearls equals how much clout, and corridors designed to swallow you in symbolism. Even the wait time outside the audience chamber was political. Are you a 2-hymn delay or a full Vespers guy? Byzantium's soft power rested on 3 pillars: spectacle that impressed, paperwork that lasted, and intelligence that warned. The robot menagerie showcased Pillar 1 while implying the other 2. If we can make lions roar on cue, imagine what our scribes and spies can do. Day 1 at court, and you're already outacted by a mechanical bird.
Number 5. The Six-Day Patriarch, the Photian Fast Track, 858 AD.
HR says, 10 years experience. Emperor says, counteroffer, 6 days. Michael III, a youthful ruler fond of parties and uncles named Bardas, clashes with Patriarch Ignatios, an ascetic who calls out court behavior with Olympic-level frown. Enter Photius, layman, scholar, polyglot, the human equivalent of a library with legs. Ignatios is pushed out on charges conveniently shaped like politics. Photius rockets up the clerical ladder, reader to patriarch in less than a week, because if you speedrun sanctity hard enough, maybe God can't alt-tab. Rome objects. Letters fly across the Adriatic stacked with anathemas and respectful roasts. Underneath the snark lie real issues. The West's filioque clause. Who gets to evangelize Bulgaria and thus influence kings? And whether emperors can treat bishops like cabinet appointments. Councils convene and reconvene. Some crown Photius legitimate, others don't. He's deposed, restored, and retired across decades, a yo-yo with a mitre. The saga exposes a widening rift. Different legal assumptions, Roman versus Byzantine law. Different languages, Latin versus Greek. Different vibes about church-state boundaries. It previews the 1054 break like thunder before a storm. Byzantine moral. When in doubt, add footnotes and hold another council. Also, LinkedIn endorsements unlocked. Greek, diplomacy, becoming patriarch before lunch.
Number 6. The Wrestler, the Emperor, and the Girlfriend, Basil I's soap opera, 860s to 867.
Basil arrives a horse groom and somehow speedruns to Emperor. 9th century Byzantium loved a glow-up. Talent could trump birth if you impressed the right eyes. Basil, burly, shrewd, probably Armenian, allegedly body slams a famed Bulgarian wrestler before Emperor Michael III, who adopts him as best friend / knife with legs. Problem: Michael's girlfriend, Eudokia Ingerina, isn't politically packageable as Empress. Solution: Basil marries her, while Michael continues visiting. Palace HR evaporates into mist.
Basil becomes Chamberlain, then co-emperor, while factions split between Team Michael and Team Basil. Paternity rumors cloud the nursery like incense. Are Eudokia's sons Michael's, Basil's, both, or Schrodinger's? In 867, Michael is murdered in a palace plot. Basil emerges sole ruler. Whatever the moral math, the political result is stability. Basil I founds the Macedonian dynasty, codifies law in the Basilica, strengthens frontier defenses, courts scholars, and sets conditions for a long golden patch under his heirs. Basil's arc reveals Constantinople's odd meritocracy. You can climb by brains, brawn, or charisma, if you also master palace etiquette and survive proximity to power. Court intimacy is rocket fuel and dynamite in the same jar. New relationship status, it's complicated. Also, I'm emperor. Number 7. Sister Act with Knives. Empresses Zoe and Theodora, 1042. Zoe outlives husbands the way phones outlive chargers. Daughter of a long-lived dynasty, she's valuable political real estate. She marries Romanos III, dies under suspiciously Bath-adjacent circumstances, then Michael IV, ill, dies. Needing stability, she adopts Michael V, a nephew with ambition exceeding brain RAM. Michael V thanks her by exiling her to a monastery, assuming the city will applaud reforms and forget the woman whose face is literally on the coins. Constantinople, which loves Zoe the way sports fans love tradition, erupts. Markets shudder, dock workers and merchants mobilize, and the city militia chooses Team Auntie. Crowds storm palace gates, senators flip faster than pancakes. Michael V flees and receives the classic Byzantine HR outcome: deposition plus blinding. Permanent vacation package. Zoe returns in triumph, bringing her sister Theodora from a convent. Theodora, sharp, pious, allergic to nonsense, balances Zoe's charisma with administrative steel. Together they co-rule. Salaries corrected, abuses investigated, optics stabilized. Co-rule ends when Zoe marries Constantine IX for political polish. Theodora later governs solo, issuing laws with calm inevitability. The episode shows that legitimation in Byzantium flows through the city as much as the palace. You can seize a throne, you cannot survive if the capital hates your vibe. It's also a rare snapshot of mature women wielding direct imperial power in a medieval state and doing it competently. Byzantium, come for the mosaics, stay for the anti-junta. Number 8. The Book of the Eparch. Byzantine HOA rules for an empire. 10th century. What if your city had a manual that micromanaged everyone? Because it worked. The Eparch, city prefect, oversaw a metropolis with hundreds of thousands of hungry mouths and strong opinions. Famine equals riot. Riot equals regime change. Prevention is cheaper than cavalry. The Book of the Eparch details how guilds operate. Bakers must sell loaves of fixed weight. Inspectors valor verify scales. Butchers can't hide meat to spike prices. Soap boilers mind their formulas, unless they enjoy explosions. Money changers post rates. Bankers keep reserve rules. Purple dyers and silk weavers live under near-state monopoly because imperial branding is sacred. Even funeral directors get guidelines, because death, too, is regulated. This moral economy isn't modern capitalism or command economy. It's a stability machine. The state trades micromanagement for predictable bread and honest measures, avoiding panics that light torches. The payoff is a city able to host foreign merchants, pay troops on time, and survive sieges with less chaos than you'd expect from a place with this many incense burners. Yes, innovation can slow under tight guilds, but consistency feeds people, and people with bread don't usually barbecue palaces. Byzantium's secret weapon wasn't just walls and Greek fire. It was paperwork, inspectors, and a shared sense that cheating your neighbor cheats the city. The first Yelp, except a 1-star review, could land you in court. Number 9. Greek fire versus the Rus, the original flamethrower flex, 941. A Rus fleet muscles into the Bosporus, expecting plunder. Byzantium rolls out dromons, sleek warships whose party trick is a dragon-headed tube. Inside, pressurized hellbroth, probably petroleum with resin and sulfur, engineered to ignite and cling. Crews train like NASCAR pit teams in reverse, faster fuel in, faster fire out. Admiral Theophanes maneuvers with wind and current, timing the siphons to spit streams that arc in the sea breeze. Fire kisses sailcloth. Rigging becomes funeral pyre. Water makes it worse, spreading slicks that burn like angry sunsets. Panic ripples across decks. Oars beat frantic rhythm. Some men dive, only to discover the surface itself bites. The spectacle is the weapon. Surviving Rus spread tales that magnify the deterrent. Siege planners henceforth budget not only for ladders and rams, but for morale damage inflicted by Byzantine pyrotechnics. The formula's secrecy is state religion. Attempts to copy it rarely match the consistency or delivery systems. Greek fire doesn't win every war, but it buys time. Time for diplomacy, for bribes, for winter to arrive. In a city that engineers theater as policy, the sea becomes a stage, and the flames a sermon. By the power vested in me by petroleum, I pronounce you a flame. Number 10. Congrats! You're the Mega Ultra Vice Emperor. Title inflation, 11th to 12th century. When you can't give everyone land, give them letters. Lots of them. Comnenian emperors, Alexios I, John II, Manuel I, lean hard on kin networks and frenemies. Territorial gifts empower rivals, so they weaponize honor. Enter the syllable parade. Sebastos, everyone's favorite, Proto-Sebastos, the spicy one, Sebastocrator, quasi-vice emperor, later Pan-Hyper-Sebastos, hydration break. Sprinkle megas on offices, megas do for admiral, megas logothetes for chief admin nerd. Each rung comes with robe patterns, shoe bling, and assigned candle counts near your face at ceremonies. The beauty is elasticity. Need to soothe an ambitious cousin? Invent proto-hyper something and embroider it on him. Need cash? Sell dignities as IOUs for future offices. Diplomats from abroad drown in etiquette, half convinced by the theater that this hierarchy has always existed and probably will forever.
Grand Stratellates.
Patrician.
Reichs. Protocolos. Grand Domestic.
Title inflation stabilizes the century, until too many gold-trimmed somebodies clog the arteries of state. When real crises hit, hi 1,204 Crusaders, embroidered vowels don't block spears. Yet for decades, the system buys peace on installment, converting ego into order with minimal bloodshed. LinkedIn endorsements, but stitched. Byzantium endured because it adapted. Law codes rewritten for Greek courts, frontier defense reorganized, diplomacy upgraded with pageantry and spies. It inherited Rome's bones and layered on Orthodox soul, Hellenic brains, and Levantine trade routes. When brute force failed, it schemed. When coins ran thin, it minted prestige. When enemies crowded the walls, it turned the city into a theater of inevitability. Sure, it was petty, sometimes catastrophically petty, but inside the pettiness was policy. Theodora's resolve stabilized a regime. Silk smuggling funded fleets. Icon debates defined identity. Automata choreographed dominance. Titles papered over civil war with calligraphy. If history is a mirror, Byzantium shows that states live not only by swords and silver, but by symbols, and the audacity to perform them. Thanks for wandering the purple labyrinth. If this romp through golden mosaics and questionable life choices made you grin, tap like, smash subscribe for more chaotic history, and ring the bell so the algorithm sends you fresh Byzantine drama before the next council meeting. Drop your favorite petty moment in the comments. Team Icon or Team Animatronic Lion? See you in the next episode.